Some books may make you smile, but this book made me laugh. Not just smile, laugh. Even though the story is based out of war, the plot line at times is so applicable to our day to day lives, especially to what happens in our day to day jobs in the modern corporate environments. Have you always wanted to read classic novels but found them to be too long or too boring or too tough to read? Pick this one up. Hello, good people of the internet. Welcome to another video in the Unlearning Playground Book Club. The book that we're talking about in today's video is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. Now, Catch-22 is a classic novel. It is based on the time of the Second World War, and counterintuitively enough, it is an extremely funny novel. I mean, I did not expect a book that is based on war to be funny, but it is. It is extremely funny. I think it is one of the only few books that have ever made me laugh. Not just chuckle, not just smile, but laugh. Literally laugh. And again, counterintuitively enough, today's video will be on life lessons that you can receive from this book. That's right, a funny classic novel based on war is giving you life lessons. Life doesn't get any better, right? So, yes, today's video will be about 5 different life lessons that I think everyone can derive from this novel. If it moves you enough, make sure you check out this book. I would highly recommend reading it yourself. Make sure you check it out from the Amazon link down below in the description. If you do that, it is an affiliate link and it helps support the Unlearning Playground in a big way. And now, if you're not a subscriber of the channel, make sure you subscribe and let's get into it. The first life lesson that I think everyone can derive from this book is the fact that humor can be found in apparently the most unfunny situations, the most serious of situations at times. I mean, if the guy can write a funny novel based on war, where can you not find humor? Really, the humor in this book is witty, it's hard hitting, it's also uplifting and enlightening at times. I really loved the fact that this guy could write a book on war and make it funny. And honestly, despite of all the life lessons that I will talk about in this video about this book, I think one of the foremost things that will stand out for me a couple of years from now when I think about this book will be the fact that this made me laugh. Not just chuckle, not just smile, it made me laugh. And when I was talking about humor, when I was thinking about humor that this guy had, it actually reminded me of this very famous quote, which I absolutely love and I want to share with you. It is from this guy, Francis Bacon, and he says, imagination was given to man to compensate him for what he is not, and a sense of humor to console him for what he is. This is exactly the kind of humor that this guy also has in this book. Make sure you read it. The second life lesson that I think everyone can derive from this book is the fact that not everything that seems extremely serious or extremely important or extremely necessary to someone or even to a whole lot of people is actually that much necessary or that much important or that much serious. Quite often, in fact, it can just be collective folly, collective mass delusion. And this is quite the central theme of this novel. One of our protagonists is an army officer, and he's seeing how it's almost insane what everyone else around him seems to be doing, seems to be thinking about war. And I think even if your own identity depends on it, you need to be courageous enough to wake up to what is true and act it out. And that's exactly what the protagonist also did. Even though his identity as an army officer depended on the war, depended on almost the insanity that was going on, he was courageous enough, he was honest enough to step up to it and act on it. Which brings me to life lesson 3 from this book. It is, in fact, a quote from one of my favorite philosophers, teachers, authors, whoever you want to call him, Jiddu Krishnamurti. And his quote goes something like this: it is no measure of good health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. Which is basically what I was talking about in point number 2 also. We, like I said, our protagonist is shown that he is rising up to the insanity of people around him. He is actually talking sanity, but people all around him are, number one, they are insane. They are acting out their insanity, and they are the ones calling him out to be insane. I mean, there were a lot of situations in this book where, for example, there are some generals and colonels, some high ranked officials who are trying to use the war effort to actually only get promoted quicker. not thinking about what soldiers are facing at ground level, but just thinking about getting their own promotions. And then there is some colonel who, some high ranked official whose only concern with the war is to have his squadron perform the best march, literally performing the best march, which is again very similar to what you would see in your day to day lives, where some of the managers in corporate environments do not really care about what the output their teams are getting out, but what they care about is how they present, how they project their outputs in the form of those very beautiful PPT presentations. And that's it. It's insane to be well adjusted to an insane society. It's insane to act like insane people. And the life lesson I would give out is that if you know deep down in your heart that you are acting out of sanity, even if other people call you insane, keep going. Now, there are two more life lessons I want to give from this book. But before we get into that, like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's keep going. Now, the next life lesson from this book is something specific to wars. At one juncture in the story, there is a central character who is talking to another guy about the particular war that is happening. And what he says is extremely profound and can be extremely mind bending if you let it. He says, at this point, there are 50 or 60 countries fighting this war. Surely not all of them can be worth dying for. That's it. Who do you think amongst those 50 or 60 countries is deluded? Could it be all of them? The fifth and final life lesson from this book is also specific to wars, but it is something which can be generalized to your day to day life as well. The protagonist of our novel is at one point absolutely all up in arms about the war, and he has found out that it's absolutely insane to be involved in this war. And he is, like I'm saying, he's just in protest about not going for any other mission and not having anything to do with the war. And there is another character in the story who actually is discussing this with him, and he's reprimanding him for his decisions, for his behavior. And what he says is, well, what if everyone starts to think this way, man? To which our guy replies back, well then, I would be a damn fool to not think this way, isn't it? So witty, so hilarious, but so true. I'm pretty sure that if you're thinking about wars, if you're reading this book and thinking about the entire situation, this is one thing that will definitely come to your mind. What if everyone starts to think like our protagonist? And this is sort of that dead end to which our thinking cannot we cannot cross that barrier. And I think Joseph Heller does a good job just via this witty comment of crossing that barrier. If everyone is actually thinking this way, you would be the insane one not thinking that. So that's it. Make sure you check out this book yourself too. It's funny, it's hilarious, it's witty, it's hard hitting, but it's also uplifting and enlightening at the same time. Make sure you check out this book from the link down below in the description. It is an Amazon affiliate link, like I already mentioned in the video before. And if you're not a subscriber of the channel, make sure you subscribe. And if I can point you to one more video, I would highly recommend watching this another book review I did. The book's name is Stepping Through by Rocco Jarman. And I think it is easily one of the most important, the best self improvement books I have ever read in my life. Make sure you check it out. Until next time, peace out.